This is the last piece of that 1-inch old 1940s pine that I have left that's large enough to do anything with the speaker cabinet. I was thinking about making the baffle that holds the speaker in out of this because it's old and the speaker connects to it, and people talk about how the difference in wood makes a difference in, which I don't really believe, sorry. It might, but it's sort of traditional on Fender cabinets at least that the front is made of like 1/2-inch ply. And since the rest of the box is made out of this, even though you won't see it unless you're actually handling the box, I'm going to make this the back panel so that there's not an ugly piece of plywood on the back. The baffle will be covered up with grill cloth, so you won't be able to tell what the wood there is anyway. But this will kind of match what the cabinet's already been built out of. And we're going to just go ahead and level this out. I want to kind of lower that a bit. Ah, that's what's going on. I have a nail. So we're going to have to take that out, stand by. Alright, I got in a bit of a hurry and didn't check for nails and stuff like that because I only have a limited amount of time to do anything out here. You have to excuse if you can see it. The camouflage tarp that's wrapped around this, if you listen, you can hear birds. That right there I think is a blue jay. But you can hear birds. And I make a makeshift kind of blind out of this sometimes to do bird photography in my backyard. And I was doing that the other day. And I haven't taken it down. And don't really have time to do that right now. I have this this iron. Taking a pretty deep cut. Trying to flatten this board out fairly quick. Absolutely gorgeous wood. I know it's pine. People think of pine as a cheap wood, but I think it's beautiful, particularly the shade of orange, reddish orange that this is. Lovely stuff. I don't know if the camera's doing it justice or not, but it's lovely. Alright. Now we get to figure out what the grain direction is on this. And you see back here, the plane is not really grabbing till I get right about there, because there's a high spot here. I want to actually crank that some more because I don't want to be here all flipping day. Let's see. I know that's the grain direction and it's smoothing out, but it actually needs more work across the grain. As you see, it's skipping across this surface and only hitting certain parts of it. But as we continue to move across this surface, taking deeper and deeper cuts, thicker and thicker shavings, until we start moving up toward. Now see, I moved over this way, small again. You see that side? As I continue to run along the length of this board, it'll start digging. You see now, it's digging here. The reason for that is, if you look at this board, it has like a crown this way, starting right about here. And the wood is, all the unevenness in the surface of this wood is leveling out as I pass a plane over it. And the thing with it is that's the way you want to set your plane. I do kind of a compromise between adjusting the plane blade deep enough to take the unevenness out of the surface faster, and trying not to adjust it so deep that when the plane starts leveling this surface out, it doesn't dig real deep and grab the wood and stop because it's cutting too deep. That takes trial and error. See, like right there, see that? I adjusted the depth of my plane, but as I go along this surface, it'll take more and more, it'll start taking more and more wood out. See there? That's fairly deep. A fairly deep cut. Now I could back off of that and make the plane cut less aggressively, but it would take a little bit longer to actually level things out. And I am going to back that up a little here while I work this in, so that it doesn't take so much for me to start leveling that out. And what I might do, I might have to sharpen this, but is I might move to a smaller, a shorter plane. And the reason for that is that excuse me, I'm setting this, is that the plane, the difference between these two planes, if there are undulations and not quite flat areas, this might span a gap. This one might dip down to where it'll hit those spots, those low spots and high spots a bit better. That's another reason to have a couple different size planes. Lovely. Alright. Alright, I've got it cut in half. I'm trying to manage it a little bit better. These are winding sticks. They're designed so that I can tell whether there's a twist of any kind in the wood, because if you look at this, if you look, I can go, right? Well, that's not because this is not level, it's because my bench is not level. So I need to be able to reference the actual board. And what it is these two sticks are mated to one another. And I can set one end on this side and one end on this side and look down the top of them, and I can find any discrepancy along the length of the board that is not correct, that's off. That's beautifully flat. Now I'm going to join these boards. What I have them as evenly butted together as I can. Now I have these little clamps here, my vice racks, and when you tighten it down here, it pushes the bottom closed and kind of opens a gap up here. So I've just got these here so that I get a nice flush piece across the top. Incidentally, this camera didn't want to come on when I changed the battery, and I had to play with it to get it to work. Got my neighbor's dogs. Little ankle biters. Anyway, if something goes wrong with this camera, the videos will start looking bad. But I'll film with what I've got until I can figure out what. Hopefully, it was just some kind of funky kind of glitch. But anyway, what I've done, I've chosen my longest plane. That is almost as long as this piece. I could join with the number 4. That's about half as long. It's doable, but I have this plane. It's fairly long, and it matches closer to the length. The grain, so we're gonna flip around to this number. So that I'm going with the grain. Yeah, I'm taking too much off. Alright, where's my lovely, lovely. That's pretty blooming close. That might be perfect, right blooming there. Let's see. What I'm going to do is I'm going to step off camera, hold this joint up to the sun. And that's a perfect joint There's zero light coming through that whatsoever. It is absolutely perfect. So now we're going to glue. None of the surfaces of these boards are completely finished. I just wanted them nice and even, square, and flat, so that I could square them with one another. I could cut this joint, I could plane this joint flat and square so that I could join the plate. Once I join the plate, then I will thickness it down to where I want it, so that it's all exactly the same thickness. Beautiful. Where's my other? Here it is. Yes, I'm wiping that underneath the bottom of my bench. That's why it's made out of pine. Used recycled 2x4s. It's a tool just like everything else that I have. I know that a lot of, I'm not knocking, if you've got like a walnut bench or a maple bench or whatever, I'm not knocking you, understand? I'm just explaining to my viewers, because people go, oh, you wipe that glue on your bench. Well, you know, I understand that people use hardwoods because they're more durable and because they weigh more. And so the bench doesn't move as much because there's more weight on it. But it's really expensive for one. And for another, you got to kind of be really careful with it. And I don't, this bench is never going to be anything more than a pine bench. And even if I had the money, I would not have built like a hardwood bench out here and left it out in the weather. That's too much money to spend on something that's going to be exposed to the elements for years and years and years. So there were a variety of factors in choosing what wood I would use for my bench and why. And one of the reasons is that it is a tool. I don't have to worry about it if I get glue on it, if I cut into it or whatnot. The only thing I really have to worry about is every now and then I need to come back and flatten it, because the weather and the humidity and all the seasonal changes and stuff will make it start doing one of these numbers. And I don't need precision flat, but I need flat enough that I can work on the board or on the bench. So that's why, I mean, if you look, that's pretty darn flat actually. But is it flat lengthwise and widthwise completely? Probably not. Doesn't matter. Anyway, we're going to let this glue up, then we'll come back. Normally, I would worry about like blowout on either end, but this is wider than, way wider than I need, so I'm not gonna worry about it. These ends will be trimmed off. Big old knot. The plane keeps just, see how hard it is? It just slides right over top of it, even if I do like a really deep cut. It won't cut it. Got some hard stuff. People think about hardwoods like oak and maple and stuff like that, like southern yellow pine and some of the other types of pine, can be incredibly hard and incredibly dense. And highly difficult to work. And they can dull tools. Every bit as fast or faster than those woods can. You have to find a way to come at them. Have to find a way to come at them in a direction where they will, where you can cut them, because they sure don't want to be cut a lot of times. I took that down too far. There we go. See how when I hit here, hear the difference? If I get on either side of it, once I hit there, that's that flipping knot. I need to get a little bit more out there. I used my table saw to cut out some 1-inch thick strips from a 2x4. That I had laying around. I don't care that it's gray here and nobody's ever going to see that, and it's not anything that I give a flying flip about. What I'm going to do, put me some glue down. Looks like I might be low on glue. I'll have to go get another bottle. I have lines, I don't know if you can see them, that determine how far back I want this. I want a slight, very slight setback. And I'm not really worried about how much it is. I'm just eyeing it. And I have me a nail gun. But I got me a little nail gun. Yeah, I got one. I have work that has to be done on the home. That kind of deal. So we spent the money to take care of that. So we're gonna so that way I can glue this down, let this dry. And most likely what I will do is once I get the front done for the speaker baffle and all of that, and I'm just holding it here till it gets kind of tacky. The glue gets kind of tacky. But anyway, I will most likely put some strips between here just to butt up against this seam, and then I will probably, although I ain't 100% sure on it yet, but I'll probably seal the box completely. That way, it'll be airtight. want it as perfectly even here as I can possibly get it, so that I don't have to worry. Alright, now obviously everything has to be finished sanded and all of that kind of thing, but right there we go. That's the back fitted. So now the whole box, except for the front, which you won't see because of the grill cloth, is this old 80-year-old pine. So I think once I get everything done, that this is going to be a beautiful cabinet. I appreciate you coming along for all of this. Bless you. And I'll talk to you later.